Hey, I don't know if you noticed, but the house is on fire. Would you mind grabbing some stuff and the baby so we can get out? Okay, well, could you just be clear? I cannot read your mind. Just give me a list of the things that you need me to do. We get it. You hate your wife. The mommy that you married has recently started asking you to do some chores, and now you're trying to get the hell away from her. We know the story. It's a tale as old as time. The old ball and chain that you proposed to is not giving you enough bing bang and is now asking you to do things in the house that you live in. We understand your plight, all right? You couldn't have made it any clearer. You hate that woman. We also get it, wives. You have a mothering kink. Clearly mixed in with a little bit of humiliation, because I don't know why y'all keep sharing this stuff on TikTok. Oh, he's been doing so much better. He's been remembering to put his shoes away. Oh, and he's even started flushing the toilet all by himself. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you had a kid. I don't. I am really struggling to understand why y'all keep coming on here to tell us about all the basic things around the house that your husband won't do.
My husband doesn't help me at all do anything around the house. He doesn't help with our kids, and I'm going to tell you why. He works a full-time job and provides for our house financially, so he doesn't have to. I also work a full-time job, and I also have financial responsibility. But since I'm the woman, it's only my responsibility to clean the house, wash the dishes, fold the clothes, bathe the kids, put them to bed, cook dinner, clean the house up after, plus all the other things that make making sure my family runs smooth.
Because for some reason, when everyone in the comments tells you, hey, you deserve better, most of the time, y'all are never receptive to that. It seems like they tend to be digging through the comments, more so to find people who are also suffering the exact same way as them, so they can feel some solidarity. And I guess that's what the internet's for. Happy for them. But this video actually has a bit of a plot twist, because despite the fact that the weaponized incompetence TikToks is what made me privy to this whole phenomenon, I actually wanted to talk about the weaponized incompetence tweets. I want to do you the displeasure of seeing how much worse this gets over on Twitter, and I will never call it X. Twitter recently has had a very Facebook energy. Also gonna give you another plot twist. This is not about hating on the weaponized incompetence husbands, because there's a handful of these TikToks that reminded me of some of my ex-roommates. If you've ever had the experience of being the Cinderella of your household, you know that weaponized incompetence can come in a lot of forms. I had a roommate once that pretended that she didn't know how to use a broom because she just never used one before. I've seen so many weaponized incompetence videos already at this point, but I just had to come throw in my 2 cents once this new player entered the arena. And you know what? Sometimes I kind of feel bad when people become a main character on Twitter, because I think a lot of them come from the Facebook echo chamber, and so they're probably not used to how Twitter people are, because I feel so confident that this tweet would have ate on Facebook. He'd have gotten so much support and love, and now he done brought that idea to the wrong app, and he's in this YouTube video. Anyways, let me give you some context about this tweet. This tweet was actually a part of a thread that was about the 5 big changes that he made to reignite the spark in his marriage. And I'm going to be talking about the tweets out of order, because the one that I'm going to be talking about is the most popular one, but it wasn't the first one in the thread. But the most viral one starts, tip for women. Strong start with that one. Most of us men really want to help you out, but don't know how. We really want to help, but we just can't. We have no idea. It's not our fault. I feel like if there was a dictionary definition for weaponized incompetence, this exact sentence would be the definition. We want to help, but don't know how. I feel like that sentiment should be reserved for things that aren't like basic life skills.
My husband said he doesn't make any mess in the house, so I haven't been picking up after him completely for the past 3 weeks.
Like, oh, I'd really like to help you with your algebra homework, but I can't because it's just been a really long time since I did algebra and I don't remember how to help you. Oh, I'd really like to help you pirate this ship, but I can't because my license got revoked last year. There are contexts where that sentiment makes sense, and washing dishes is not one of those contexts where it makes any sense. And you know what? I wanted to be fair to some people, because I'm like, you know what? Different life experiences really do teach people different life skills. Because I feel like if so many people have this same sentiment, could there be some truth to it? But when I was thinking back to my own life and my own life experiences, I don't remember a distinct moment in my life where I was explicitly taught how to wash a dish. I feel like these things are kind of the things that you watch your parents do and you just pick up on it because you're a sentient human being who can do that. I don't know that we had to explicitly teach those things. So I don't understand, objectively speaking, how you could not know how to do it or that it needs to be done. You have 100% seen either your parents or your spouse do it. And the tweet continues. Give us lists. Give us list items weekly. We can take off your plate and we would love to help. You know what I think you should do instead? Start a family Jira board. Your wife will manage the board and she'll just like assign you tickets. Since we want to make everything a job, you can schedule weekly one-on-ones to go over those tickets as well. You can have steps, broom is in cupboard, take broom out of cupboard, move it back and forth to move dust along the floor into a pile, put it into a dustbin, throw it away, and that ticket will just automatically renew every 48 hours or so.
Hon, can you drop off the rent check today? Get up from the chair and put shoes on and pick up the check from the table and put it in an envelope and walk to the door and open the door and go into the hallway.
Guys, ask her, what can I take off your plate today? The key is solid communication around this. We can't read minds. And I hear that. Nobody can read minds except for me. I can read minds. Watch me read this dude's mind right now. God, I hate my wife. She wants me to do chores, but I don't know how. I wish she would just give me a list. So the beautiful thing about chores is they actually never change. They're pretty consistent every single week, every single month, across every single home. The basics are universal. I feel like consistently making a list of all the same things that need to be done would eventually start to make you feel insane. I feel like I would actually find it a little bit insulting. Like, to be a whole grown person getting told to do things, basic things, like remember to put your shoes away or remember to take out the garbage. I think I would start to get a little bit angry about that. To all the faceless TikTok husbands and gross roommates of the world, what the people that you live with actually want from you is to stop acting like a robot and use the 5 senses that you've been gifted by the universe. If you are a grown person with all your wits about you, then you've got 2 eyes implanted in your skull that you can use to see. When you go into the kitchen, use those 2 orbs that are implanted in your head that you use for sight to scan the area. If you see things like dishes in the sink, maybe a stain on the countertop, clean the dishes and the countertop. That's the big secret. All you actually had to do was use your 5 senses to pay attention to the universe around you. So let's get back to the thread. 7 years ago, we were in a miserable marriage. Our house was not a home. It was a war zone.
War zone?
Bro, war zone is crazy work. I'm hoping that's hyperbole. We didn't speak for days at a time, always on eggshells. All we had almost wasn't. My kids could have not had a dad. Wait, I think he just means divorce. My bad. I listen to a lot of true crime. It is interesting, though, that in the face of divorce, he's immediately already deciding the kids are going to live with their mom full time. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but you could get primary custody. That was the first tweet before he started listing the remaining 5 things that saved his marriage. So the first really interesting tip was canceling all of their streaming services. I feel like your kids are kind of catching a stray with that one. But honestly, there's actually way too many of them, and we should just have one mega service again. I think the streets are calling it cable, and there's no TV in their bedroom anymore because the only things that they're allowed to do in there is sleep or sex. And listen, the point of this video is to make fun of that part of the tweet thread that feels very weaponized incompetency. But I can't sit here and judge a person's house, all right? If this is what makes their marriage work, who the hell am I to judge? But that feels a little strict. And I mean, based off the other tweets, it just doesn't feel like Netflix was the big cause of tension in the first place. But like I said, what do I know? The second one was discovering their love languages. I've heard some controversial things about the love language test, but again, if it's working in these 2 people's relationship, I'm not judging. If anything, bro, I'm happy for them because old boy described this marriage as a
war zone.
And then we started getting a little more suspicious with the tweets because then he said, don't keep score of what one person is doing and the other isn't, and then proceeded to list a bunch of chores. Again, listen, I'm not in this marriage, but I keep getting the impression that chores was a big part of the issue. This tweet suspiciously preceded the tips for women tweet. It feels like this tweet was a tip for women saying don't keep score, just do your chores. But I'm not gonna put words in his mouth. We're just having fun here, all right? It's a party. Fourth one is about communicating everything. Most problems are a result of expectations not meeting reality. So now they go over their weekly schedule, talk problems, and let them be aired to go over the family mission. I told y'all he was being serious about that Warzone stuff. We need to watch out for this family. Like, are they the Incredibles? They're on family missions in the middle of the forest fighting their arch nemesis. And the final one is date night. I don't think most people even read the rest of the thread, if I'm being honest. I think given how prevalent conversations around weaponized incompetence have been online for the last couple months, people on Twitter and on TikTok really just latched on, I think, to that part and went buck wild with it. And that's on MagCon. He's probably used to getting a lot of positive feedback with ideas like this from his people on Facebook. I bet he's never even thought about the fact that people could hate an idea like this. Because in his crowd, this is some pretty revolutionary thinking. But this thread was very funny to me, and I felt like it was something I wanted to really talk about, because 99% of the time when we have weaponized incompetence discourse, it's coming from the wives talking about their faceless children, I mean husband. And honestly, I think this was the first time I ever saw this sentiment actually coming straight out of the mouth of one of the husbands. And that was pretty revolutionary. But that aside, I think what's interesting is also how different discourse can be from app to app. There's a subsect of people on a different app who think like this, and maybe they're thriving. And again, I don't know these people, all right? Maybe the lists worked, maybe they didn't. How would I know? Frankly, this whole account could be rage bait AI. There's no way for me to know anymore. So what was the point of this video, and what is the wrap up? It's time for us to get off Twitter. And that, my friends, is the video. Me and the most competent audience anyone could ever ask for are grateful that you watched. I know for a fact that you've all seen a ton of weaponized incompetence videos already, but I am curious if you guys are on Twitter and have specifically started seeing weaponized incompetence tweets. And if you too also feel like it's just bringing a very Facebook energy to Twitter now, and that it is in fact time for us to go. And of course, if you've made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.